Hello, everyone. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are radio, TV, and podcast station. We're the #1 internet singles talk network. Our website is right above us, goingsolomedia.com. You'll find all of our information there. This is the Boy and Girl Thing show, and I am Cece Shatz, Doyenne of Relationships. Kathy's not with us tonight. And I have my good friend with me.
And I'm Derick Bernard. And I pretend to know about relationships, but I'm really an insurance agent. But
yeah, you are. Yeah, and you know what? And anyone out there, Derick, definitely, we should probably say that because I don't think we say that enough, that you are an insurance agent. So
yes,
if anyone wants to look at their insurances,
you look at whether it's your health or your life insurance, you can, or your annuity, you can certainly reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah. And the other thing is you're also thinking about doing some voiceover work, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Uh-oh, you're frozen. You're frozen. Am I frozen? No.
Oh, you're not frozen. Am I? No, I'm not. Right. I'm okay now, right?
So you're looking to do some voiceover work. So if anyone has any work out there in podcast industry or the stations, you'd be happy to.
You can reach out. I mean, my number is 727-439-4368.
Great.
And I'll be happy to chat with you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the differences between men and women, which is kind of what this show is about. It's about the differences of us, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we sometimes, and I know even myself, sometimes I think, you know, why don't men get it? Because, you know, but they're not like us. They're not like women. And that's why they don't get us. So, yeah.
Well, that's why they are men and women, so that we can complement each other.
That's right.
You know, and the whole socialization process of boys are different from girls, and there are some psychological differences according to this author, which we know that's true. You know, so it starts from babyhood, that girls are spoken to differently from boys. You know, little girls.
We have an article that we've been looking at here, and the article is by the Relationship Institute. And it talks about the differences between men and women. And it takes it all the way back from infants.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see that we treat the boys differently. We even actually talk louder to the boys.
Yeah.
We do. So the girls. I was surprised by that.
And it says that girls develop right side of the brain faster than boys. Leads to talking, vocabulary, pronunciation, reading earlier, and better memory. And yes, women do have long memories. So
yeah, just try to cross us, and we'll remind you of our memory.
I am telling you. But you know, that's you know, I remember once because I used to be a photographer for many years, and I used to do a lot of family photography and kids. And I remember there was a little group, one particular little group of boys. You know, when boys are infants, around 3, 4, 5, they are so, you know, they are challenging. They want to challenge you. And in there were 4 boys and 1 little girl. And I was speaking, you know, with the boys, and I'm saying, look, you are my little soldier, so you have to do what I say, blah, 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 blah. I started being a drill sergeant. And they were giggling and responding. The poor little girl started to cry. So I picked her up to hush her, and she laid her head on my shoulders, and you know, and I had to, and you know, she did not want to get down. I got trouble to put her down now to get the pictures. But it showed to me that example where boys are spoken to differently than girls. The boys were accustomed probably being spoken to a little more sternly than the little girl was. So when she heard my big stern voice, she just fell into a little heap of tears.
Oh, freaked out.
But now there are some girls who would have responded quite differently.
Like my daughter.
Right?
My daughter probably would have stepped on my foot.
Right? But that little one, I remember. I always remember that child. Poor thing.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised about this article because it truly does talk about the difference between them all the way back from infancy, and
yes.
then even if it's going forward. And let's talk a little bit about the values, the self-esteem as adults, because I think a lot of it, when we're going through a relationship loss and we're moving forward into another relationship, I mean, our self-esteem is really down. And we don't think that men will be affected by that, but they aren't they?
But of course, after all, men are just humans. We're just two different aspects of the same thing.
Right.
Any side you look at a coin from, it has the same value. Right? If you see the heads, the same value as when you see the tails. It's similar to men and women, different sides of human beings. And of course, men's self-esteem, men have a lot of shattered self-esteem. It makes some men very timid. And these days, I mean, I wonder sometimes because, and I'm going to use the example, for instance, of the governor of New York here, what's his name? Cuomo. And all the women who are now complaining about him. And I'm wondering, in my mind, did he really intend what the women are interpreting? Or is it because of the way women look at things that they feel that way? And it shows that men have to be so careful, especially in the position of authority, about how you communicate, the kind of conversations you have. Especially in today's world, it's so different from years ago when men could have been what we call men, and women what we would call women. Now it's a whole different ballgame, right? Yeah. So, and I think too that when I read this article, that kind of came to mind because it showed the difference in socialization of men and women, and how men look at things, how women look at things, how we think differently. And we have to be careful about how we judge other people based on our own feelings and probably not based on their intentions.
And that's so right. I mean, this happened to me recently, and I know perfectly well the intention was honorable. It was, but I took it totally wrong. And my feelings got hurt over it.
Right.
With this particular circumstance, and my feeling got hurt over it, and I'm thinking and then now afterwards, and then when I read this article, I'm thinking, oh geez, wish I'd read this article first,
Right.
but we're just different. We are different, and because we're different is why we desire the other sex,
Yes.
Because we like that. I mean, we might criticize a guy for being strong and working hard and, being diligent and looking at being a fixer and, those kind of things. But isn't that what we love about them?
Sometimes.
That they're dependable, that they're there, that they can solve problems that we get emotional over. I mean, where's that balance?
I once read an article which indicated that women are attracted to the strong male, right, with a certain masculine look and all of that. But when they want to settle down with a man, they look for a softer type of man. That isn't as strongly masculine as the man that he may have gone out with or taken a fling with or just had a good time with. And now when they're ready to settle down and have children and have a family life, they're looking for the more man with a little bit of more femininity about him and so on.
So what about now that we're older? Now that we're into the senior citizen, dating and stuff?
Well, I don't know because
women have gotten to be quite independent.
Women are independent. I mean, and younger women are also independent. And I date across the board You know, I don't limit myself to people around my age. In fact, I hardly date people around my age. But
you date younger or older?
I date younger.
Yeah, okay.
I have more fun that way.
Typical man.
I have more fun, trust me.
I think most men do date. Especially in our age group. I don't think they date.
Yeah,
They generally don't date older. They generally date
I generally date younger women,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, younger women are different now. It's more independence, more self-assuredness, you know, more confidence, you know, about stuff, you know, and it's and they're very interesting conversationalists. Now they have a very wide area of interest, you know. So it has changed. You know, it has changed.
Yeah, I think it has, but you know, I wonder too though about the emotional part, because I think we overlook, as being a woman, I think women overlook men's their emotional part. You know, we don't realize how sensitive they are and how appreciative we should be to them.
Well, you know, I would say just like some women are more sensitive than others, some men are more sensitive than others, right? Some men to me are a little too sensitive. Sometimes I want to say, look, man, just toughen up and grow up. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's not that men mustn't have emotions or men mustn't be sensitive. But I think that some men, to me these days, are tending to become a little bit too much on the soft side.
No, I don't think so. I kind of like it when a guy, you know, is strong enough to show his feelings, that he doesn't hide behind.
So in your feelings,
or behind things. I mean, I like a guy that, you know, is kind of a straight shooter and will tell how he feels and not afraid to tell how he feels.
Nothing is wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the mannerisms and the display of the feelings. You know, just, I mean, it's not, well, it's not even attractive for a woman to be too feely, right? So, I mean, you know,
too what?
Too kind of mushy, you know.
You don't think that's attractive for a woman to be mushy?
Not in all circumstances. Not in all circumstances.
Oh.
A woman, to me, also has to show some strength.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And some, you know, to be firm sometimes. To say no or to say yes. You know, go on to me is a time when a woman just has to follow the lead of the man. You know, that to me is a past era. Now a woman has to stand up and say where she stands. You know, and it's one of the problems I also have with some of the women who came out now to talk about Como. When he offended you, you should stand up to the man and say, hey, stop your nonsense. I'm not here for that. You know?
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, I've actually done that myself, and I applaud myself, because normally I would have just let it go. And instead now I'm like, you know what? That wasn't appropriate.
You know, if I had daughters, boy, they wouldn't be letting it go.
Here's the thing, when you let things go like that, then I think disrespect sets in. Continue treating someone badly. So you have to stop and say, hey, wait a minute, you know, you have to draw a line.
You know, in spite of the fact that women were brought up socially to be softer and more yielding, but women also now have to be able in this modern society to take a stand in issues, take a stand for yourself. You know, why should you be subjected to some man making advances that you don't really want and you don't say anything about it? You know, stop him in his tracks. Don't give him a second chance to do it. You know, and I believe that in a relationship, right, women can be soft and feline and all of that, And even in the relationship, sometimes they have to straighten out the partner and say, look, buddy, you're going down the wrong street here. So I think the role of women and men have changed. I think men have to also now appreciate that women are very much our equals. We may view things differently from different perspectives because, after all, we are men and you're a woman. But we also have to acknowledge that, you know what? She might be better in this area, or she might be stronger in this area. And that, to me, makes a more harmonious relationship when we can draw on each other's strengths and shore up each other's weaknesses.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think as we're going forward dating, and we're meeting people, I think we have to appreciate the value of the other person, and so as we're moving forward in that relationship, we have to kind of blend a little bit. And so, which means giving up maybe what your perception of your life is.
Absolutely.
And you have to be able to open the door to somebody else. And so, like, for instance, as an example, is like, I have found a lot of men, as they're older like this, they're kind of anal about certain things. They want everything kind of their way because they're used to having everything their way. But the reality is, when you're together with someone, you don't have everything your way.
Well,
and that's the same for women. I mean, we don't have everything we want. I mean,
no.
But we'll try to talk you into it, but it may not be that we're going to have it.
In the Caribbean, when a man, at least in Trinidad where I'm from, when a man gets like that, we say, okay, he's now an old bull. He can't change.
He's what?
An old bull.
An old bull, yeah. Which is going to be by himself, the old bull.
Go off somewhere by yourself, because you are not prepared to make adjustments. I mean, it doesn't mean that somebody has to change, but somebody still, if you want somebody in your life, you have to accommodate that person. And that person has to accommodate you. It can't be everything you want, or everything you say, or any, you want it this way and that's that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I draw the line on disrespect.
Go take a testosterone shot or something and feel better about yourself.
Yeah. If I mean, I have to admit that it takes me a little bit longer to kind of, talk about it, because when it happens to me, but then I realize now that I have to talk about it and clear the air, and got to know where I stand on it, because I'm not going to put up with it,
Yeah, and the thing is, I'd say, look, and me, from a personal perspective, I'm a pretty easygoing person. I don't make fuss about a lot of stuff. I don't believe in sweating the small stuff. And I always say, if I meet somebody like that, then probably I'll fall in love again. But a lot of people you meet, even women, not just men, tend to just want things their way.
I know. Want things our way. Yeah.
And that's a turn off for me. Just relax and go with the flow. Let's see how we fit into each other. Let's, it's like water, flowing and mixing. And, it shouldn't be like rocks clashing together or something.
Right. She gets scared.
Look at it.
She's scared of we have a storm here, and she's so scared.
She's scared of she's seeing some thunder and so on.
Yeah, she's scared of the storm.
Oh my.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what they were saying on this. I know, I love you too. So, and let's see, we'll go into,
it's a long article.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going down to some of the, so like it says here about the values and self-esteem as adults. So the man's sense of self is defined through his ability to achieve results through success and accomplishments, achieve goals, and prove his confidence, feel good about himself. To feel good about himself, men must achieve goals by themselves. Now, I thought that was interesting. For men, doing things by themselves is a symbol of efficiency, power, and competence. In general, men are more interested in objects and things rather than people and feelings. Now we know that. Men rarely talk about their problems unless they are seeking expert advice. Asking for help when you can do something yourself is a sign of weakness. Women, it's totally different. Men are more aggressive than women, more combative, more territorial. Men's self-esteem is more career-related. Men feel devastated by failure and financial setbacks. They tend to obsess about money much more than women. And I think this quarter of our lives, I am seeing that more and more, that men are very obsessed about their money, not wanting to give up something, rather than thinking they can gain anything. Men hate to ask for information because it shows that they are a failure. That's why men never stop and get directions.
Well, I don't know if I completely agree with that, because I tell you the truth.
Do you stop and get directions when you're
lost? Hell yes.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You's coming out.
If I don't know where I'm going and I need to know, I ask. I really don't have those kind of hang-ups, honestly. Yeah. Now it's easier because you have your GPS, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But back in the day, when my brother and I did some photography business and we were traveling up and down the Southeast, we used to rely on Aeromap, and we'll print out from the internet the last probably mile or two of our destination. But there are many occasions we got in some spots and we didn't know how to get out. If we didn't ask, we might have been still there.
When you realize that you've passed the gas station, well, back in those days, right, when they had gas stations where people actually worked, you pass the gas station on the second time or maybe the third time, maybe that's the time to stop and ask for directions. Oh yeah, I used to sometimes get into the town and I just stop by a gas station or a KFC or wherever and ask somebody, hey, where can I find so-and-so? You are different. But let's talk about women. Women value love, communication, beauty, and relationships. The woman's sense of self is defined through their feelings and the quality of their relationships. They spend much time supporting, nurturing, and helping each other. They experience fulfillment through sharing and relating. Personal expression in clothes and feelings is very important. So you never want to say she's got a big butt in those jeans. And we be totally these days, Cece, these days a big butt is a thing. Right? Yeah, I know. So, people pay for that now. But you pay for that. Communication is important. Talking, sharing, relating to how a woman feels good about herself. For women, offering help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It is a sign of caring to give support. Women are very concerned about issues relating to physical and attractiveness. Changes in their area can be difficult for women as changes in the man's financial status. So changes in her physical being, and that happens as we get older, women do change, our appearance does change. It really becomes an area of concern, where men, they just worry about money all the time. That's all they worry about. Men are preoccupied about work and money. Women interpret it as rejection. Oh, man. Yes. Well, now, that's the thing is that a lot of men feel that without money, they can't make a woman happy and they can't feel secure within themselves. As far as the woman's body is changing, men's bodies change as well. Yeah, but women are they accept that more. Well, some women don't. Some women don't. I know some women don't. There are a lot of pregnant men walking around. And I wonder. That doesn't bother me. I mean, a man's weight and stuff, that doesn't bother me. What I'm saying, it should bother him. Yeah. Because it's a sign of, look, I know that I'm too heavy. Right now I have too much weight on. Praise God, I'm not pregnant, right? But I'm too big. So now I do intermittent fasting and I try to get in my 8,000 steps per day. And it's not just for aesthetics. It's because I recognize that if I don't do something, my quality of life that I want, I would not be able to have, so, and my health would deteriorate. Right.
So,
You want to be healthy.
you want to be healthy, you know.
Mhm.
It's not just about aesthetics; it's about health.
Yeah.
And you should be proud about yourself when you look in the damn mirror.
Right.
Honestly,
It should make you.
yeah,
Make
you
you feel
shouldn't.
good. All right. So what we're going to do is when we come back, let's talk a little bit about the difference. I want to try to get to the conflicts that arise due to the basic differences, and we'll do that. Do a quick break here, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and this is the Boy and Girl Thing show. I am Cece Shatz, and I have my here with me.
And I'm Derick Bernard.
And we're talking about the differences between men and women. And there's lots of differences, aren't there?
Yeah, there are quite some differences. Differences start with the socialization of infants, and goes on to other things, expectations, etc.
Right. Well, the conflicts which arise due to the basic differences between men and women, it says the most frequent complaint men have about women are always trying to change them. And women complain about men, saying men don't listen. They don't listen to us. So women want empathy, yet men usually offer solutions.
Solutions.
Yes, that's true. And we do love that, but then we get upset. When a woman tries to change or improve or correct or give advice to a man, men hear that as being told that they're not competent or don't know how to do something, or that it can't do something on their own. So they take it totally different. Men often feel responsible or blame for women's problems. Men also assume women want advice and solution to problems, that is the best way to be helpful and to show love. Women often just want someone to sincerely listen to them. Housework. I thought this was interesting, Derick. Let's check this out. Housework. Men avoid it, try to get others to do it at all costs, feel demeaned by doing it. Women, on the other hand, cleanliness of house is a manifestation of warm, homey nest. Men and women are different thresholds for cleanliness and dirt. So they have different thresholds for that.
Sometimes.
Yeah. which is why you guys can go work in the garage and be happy. Men often try to change a woman's mood when she's upset by offering solutions to her problems, when she interprets it as discounting and invalidating her feelings. Women try to change men's behavior by offering unsolicited advice, criticism, or become home improvement committee. So what do you think of that?
Well, let's go from the top.
Yeah.
And one of them that stood out to me was the most frequent complaint men have about women is that women are always trying to change them. The most frequent complaint women have about men is that men don't listen. I just think that people should try to accept each other as they are.
So do men don't listen, or they don't follow instruction?
Oh my God.
Yeah, the thing about changing it, again, we've talked about this many times on the show.
Yeah.
We even talked about it earlier, is that no one wants to be changed. We want to be accepted for who we are, what we value.
I have accepted a long time ago.
Yeah.
That I cannot change anyone.
Right.
So it's either I love you as you are, or I move on.
Right. But here's the thing, is you still have to, if you decide you're together, you have to somehow blend, Well, and that isn't necessarily changing. Maybe it's pivoting. Maybe it's shifting. And we use that word change as like almost a curse word. Oh my God, you're trying to change me, the big C word, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not really. It's if you want to come together as a couple, guess what? Shifting is going to happen.
I mean, you're going to have compromises. Okay, you're going to have compromises. But what I'm saying is that if you meet someone and you definitely don't like what you see, don't think that you can change what you see.
Right.
Or what you feel. Just move on.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, for instance, I met a gentleman that golfs, right? Mm-hmm. And because he was by himself, he golfs a lot, right? Mm-hmm. But now he decided he wanted to have someone in his life. But he doesn't want to give up golf, So he knows that he needs to do something to accommodate,
Well, he wants someone who can go golfing with him.
Right. Well, either that or also maybe he can trim it down a little bit or do something, So I think that's the thing. It's like, granted, there's a change, that there's shift that's happening, but do we value someone? Do we want to be with them? And so that change has to happen if we want to be with them. There's only 24 hours in a day, and some of you got to spend sleeping. So if you want to be with somebody, there is change that's going to be happening.
Okay. And it also can go the other way. If you want to be with this man, you're going to have to accommodate the golfing.
Absolutely. And instead of like, for instance, I was talking to a lady about it. Her husband does the same thing. He golfs, and so he golfs and on Saturday, and she meets with the girls and does her thing on Saturday.
And that can work fine. It's
not. But the thing is again, it's your compromise. You have to compromise.
You have to compromise.
You can't change everything. You can't expect someone to change everything in their life because they're with you.
If you met a man and he golfs on a Saturday, by jolly, expect him to go golf on a Saturday. In fact, when he gets up on a Saturday morning, say, honey, here's your bag. Go to the golf course.
Here's your sandwich.
Here's a sandwich if you want. Go enjoy yourself. Go golf.
That certainly doesn't bother me. And for me, I work. So, I can always, there's always something I can do. So I never have a problem with someone doing something that they.
And if you want to do nothing when he's golfing, lie in bed and relax.
Yeah.
Or you want to learn to golf, go golf for them.
But here's the point. He can't golf. If he's used to golfing all weekend long, he's got to make a decision. When is he going to spend time with you? And so if you only have the weekends to spend the time, because if you're working during the week and you only have the weekends to spend the time, there's a shift that's going to have to take place.
Well, compromises
going to have to be met.
Compromises take place.
So
right?
to say I'm never going to change anything to be in a relationship is not true.
But
If you
changing,
care about someone, you will look at what it
all
is
right.
and make the accommodations.
There's a difference to me between changing an activity,
Mm-hmm.
right, and changing a person,
Absolutely.
right? So you can change an activity to accommodate this person,
But
but changing the person themselves, that's a different kettle of fish.
right. And so, we're using a big scope here. So when we're saying, okay, we don't want to change him, but there again, I think people need to understand that if you have decided you're single and you've decided now you want someone in your life, there are changes that you are going to have to make. And it doesn't, if it's your core values, of course, you don't want to change those things.
No, you're
But
not.
if it's time, or if it's,
I mean, look,
finances, or if it's, whatever it might be, there is going to be a shift that's going to happen in your life.
there's going to be a shift, but the shift cannot be an unreasonable shift.
Absolutely.
In other words, this guy is not supposed to go from playing golf every weekend to not playing golf at all.
Right. Absolutely.
So, so accommodations has to take place. Compromises has to take place. Right.
I mean, I had someone too, like years ago in my group, and they were talking about that she always wanted to be with family all weekend long. And he never was able to spend time with her, and she would never, in the same thing, she would never accommodate spending time with him. And so their relationship grew apart because of it. So the reality is if we want to be with someone and we feel that person is that someone, there are changes that are going to have to be made. There are shifts that are going to have to be made. In order to become together as one. And it's not a burden. It's not a bad thing.
Well,
it's something that you have to kind of do, and you have to talk it through, communication, and figure out how to make things work.
Okay, but if that person is not willing to say, all right, I'm going to go with you to see your family, or we're going to have to say, okay, you can see your family once for the month or whatever, and you cannot make those accommodations with each other, then what is right about that? How Absolutely. Is that the right person?
No, they're not the right person.
They're not the right person. And that's what I'm saying. Right. People go into things, right? And they go into relationships and they try to make changes after they're in the relationship, instead of looking at the square in the face and saying, you know what, this could work or it can't work. It's better remain casual friends with this person and try to be in the relationship with them, because he ain't going to stop playing golf every weekend. That's what he wants to do. You discuss these things. You you don't make assumptions.
Yeah. No, I know.
And you don't have
assumptions, but
expectations.
But I think that you do have to, like you said, you do have to assess it and decide, is this the right kind of relationship for me?
And you do that from,
and you have to move on and decide.
You do that from day one, and if it's not, you move on. I mean,
Right.
No, the other one that really,
so many times. I mean, it's like,
oh boy, the other one that really struck me here, and this one is important.
Yes.
Women want empathy, yet men usually offer solutions. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's a biggie. A man is socialized to think that he has to rescue a woman. The damsel in distress scenario. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Right? It ain't always so. Sometimes Rapunzel doesn't want to be saved. Sometimes Rapunzel just wants to tell her story and have somebody listen to her. And men have to learn to do that. Mm-hmm. Just give a listening ear instead of trying to get in there and do what nobody asks you to do. Mm-hmm.
And we have a couple of hosts here on the show, and they do Let's Talk Dating, Christine Baumgartner and Barry Selby, and they talked about this very subject today. And I thought Christine was very good, because what she said was, when the woman is wanting to just share something and get it off her chest, and she just wants to tell him what kind of bad day she had or whatever, she needs to just say, listen, I just want to tell you this. You don't have to solve the problem, but I just want to share it with you. And that puts it off on him, that he knows he doesn't have to come up with a solution to it, right? All he's got to do is just listen.
You know, that sounds nice in theory, but women don't do that. Women are just going to come.
We're here to teach them to do things differently.
Women, well, right, they can try, but women are just going to talk and tell you, right? And you just, you know what, just give a listening ear. She's not telling you that she can't solve the problem. She's just telling you that there is a problem, right? Or she had this experience today. She may have already solved it or found a solution for it, but she's just expressing it to you because it's on her chest.
Right. And men do that too.
And men do it too.
Ask them, like, what kind of day did they have? And they'll say, oh, this happened and that happened and this happened. And, you know, we can't fix it because it's already happened. So
it happened.
Like, okay. And so we give them empathy, and which is what they really do want. They want empathy for it.
They want empathy.
Them, you know, love and understanding. So yeah. So I mean, it happens. It happens.
It happens.
Let's go on to like what I said. How to work with these differences. When women are upset, it's not the time to offer solutions, though they may be appropriate at the future. A man's when she's calmed down. A man appreciates advice and criticism when it's requested. Now, I don't understand that. Men want to make improvements when they feel they are being approached. Let's say men want to make improvements when they feel they are being approached as a solution to a problem rather than the problem itself.
As the problem itself.
Right. So they don't want you to say, you know, because of you, you're like this.
You know, the men don't like fingers being pointed at them.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Just look at the thing. Look at the problem from a more, what would I say, impersonal way.
Right.
You know? It exists. It can be solved.
And then it goes on to say, men have great need for status and independence, emphasis on separate and different. Women have a need for intimacy and connection, emphasis on close and same. And, you know, this is very important. I mean, if people will listen to these tips, I think it would definitely help them in relationships. Women need to receive caring, understanding, respect, devotion, validation, and reassurance. I think that is key, because a lot of times we don't get that. We don't get the respect, devotion, validation, and reassurance. Yeah.
Well,
and a lot of times it's the reassurance that it's missing. Women are motivated when they feel special or cherished, and it's a great feeling that a guy can make you feel that way. And that we should feel that way all the time without being, you know, but it is nice. Men need to receive trust, acceptance, appreciation, admiration, approval, and encouragement. Men are motivated when they feel needed, and a man's deepest fear is that he's not good enough, not competent enough, though he may never express this. And I think this is important. That statement is important, don't you think?
It is important. You know, because I mean, it's a true statement. I mean, men are trained not to express how they feel, right, and not to open up. You know, and that's sad.
I also think we don't do that enough. We don't show them that we trust them, that we accept them, that we appreciate them, we admire them. You know that. So I mean, I think if we did that more, they would feel that they're good enough. You know,
well, that is
to go through life thinking you're not good enough or something.
Well, that is why people have to clear themselves before they jump into another relationship, because very often people carry their attitudes from the previous relationship into the next one. And if the previous one was bad, then the one you're going into is, you know, you're judging the person based on somebody else's performance and activity.
Right.
And that in itself creates problems. So I always tell people, look, you're out of relationship. I mean, you want to take a little fling. You feel you must have some sex or whatever, that's different. But you can't get into another relationship unless you clear the baggage from the last one.
Absolutely.
You know, so
well, the time went by fast. We're going to have to go.
Oh, yes.
I know. It goes by really, really fast.
It goes by fast.
So we've got Arnie Fonseca Jr. on the next show. So I'm excited about his show. He's talking about epic adventures. So that's
okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Derick. It's nice to see you.
Well, Cece, nice seeing you, and have a wonderful week.
Yeah, you too.
All right, and tell Kathy hello for me if you talk to her.
I will. I'll give a shout out to her.
Okay.
Thinking of her. Okay, you guys, we're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We're a radio, TV, and podcast station. We are the #1 internet singles talk network. Our website is goingsolomedia.com. You can email me at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Just let me know what you'd like to listen to. We'd be happy to bring it forward. This is the Boy and Girl Thing. I'm Cece Shatz signing off, and
I'm Derick Bernard, and I will see you next time.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.